What's up, everyone? My name is Ethan. I go by Lord Ethan. Hope you're having a wonderful time, and I am going to be taking a look at some Winston gameplay. This is some gold tank Winston gameplay on Parisu. Guys, as a little background about me, I'm a collegiate varsity Overwatch coach of about coming up on it's like almost 7 years now. I'm this year I'm going to reach my 10,000th coaching hour, which is actually pretty exciting. Some pretty cool stuff. They say it's like 10,000 hours to master something, and I got to tell you. I still don't feel like a master. I'm learning new stuff every single day, and that's what we're looking to bring to you guys. One of the first things to learn here is I love Parisu. I actually don't think it's aged as poorly as some of the other Overwatch 2 maps, but that's a pretty controversial take. I do like Parisu. I do like running Winston on Parisu. We're going to see what I really like and what I think there is to improve. So first off, we have a couple of them marked, right? We see that there's junk spam, Genji jumping up on us, bubble, right? Just use the bubble here. As soon as we understand that this is a position that we want to play, right? The bubble that's dropped too late is a bubble that doesn't protect us from the damage as soon as they're in, right? A bubble that that we placed earlier is a bubble that we can play around, right? And then we want to be careful, or that, that's just going to help us not get blown up. Just a teeny tiny note, by the way, on the movement here. Just forward and backward is not really preferable strafing movement, and I also dislike taking damage from here and using bubble here instead of just not taking damage, sitting still, like perfectly still and safe and quiet until our team like respawned, and then from there leaping up to the side ground and then dropping down with bubble onto like the back corner, right? Force them to all turn around, and then from there you have a lot of options. You can do that before the point caps, right? Because we end up trying to kind of force ourselves to jump there, but we're trying to leap in through a dark close hallway against a Junkrat Genji Winston at the last second instead of just saving bubble, waiting for team to respawn, leaping the high ground, and then dropping off with bubble, right? So like, playing main here, lower main, leap high ground, go high ground, take an angle, right? Don't play main. You don't want to sit main at range using your right clicks, right? Use leap, bubble, make space, go challenge their positions, right? I really like that Genji dive there, but after this here, when we drop here, drop the bubble, right? Because if you bubble earlier, you're going to take less damage on your dive, right? Why save bubble if you're just going to use it in the middle of their formation anyways, right? You're already there, right? So use the bubble there, and that way, instead of leaping all the way out, you can just leap up to the high ground, like right on top of them, where the supports can still see you. You can still get your leaping, your mid-air passive with the new dive tank passive. You still have angles and high ground value, and honestly, it puts you close to the objective so that you're not staggering, right? Just die on the point. If the fight is lost, just die on the point, as close or as close to the objective as quickly as possible, because the objective is how you win and lose, right? Not KDA. So die on the point, right? Stop it from moving towards its completion while your teammates respawn, right? I don't know if I end up with an answer to this. I didn't really like your right clickies when I was watching the VOD review earlier. I think it was because like you're taking damage at the times you're right clicking when you could just like be leaping or just not taking damage, right? So like kind of one or the other, like do the damage or take the damage, but you're not doing damage with the right clickies when you could be like chaining onto 3 at once, right? One is more damage. Ooh, and I really don't care for the fact that you're making your Ana contest the objective, right? Once your Ana's on the point and she can give you nano, then you can leap off, although I don't really chase the Genji, although I do like this pick, right? I would rather see you like help your team, or at least as soon as you get the Genji, like turn around and leap immediately outwards to jump back on the point. You're the tank. It's not as if like tanks should touch the objective when in overtime, but like almost always tanks should be the one touching the objective when overtime, and instead of making the supports touch, right? After that, they can give you nano and say go run, right? Do not stand still on point doing nothing during downtime, by the way, right? They don't have a Sombra. You know that they don't. You know that almost all of them are main, or you don't have any reason to think that anyone's behind you. If you did, you would be running around looking behind you for whoever is there, right? So go scout, go charge your ult. You have your ult, and my policy is if you have it, use it, right? When it comes to your ultimates, and if you don't have a reason to use it, then go find one. If you can't find one, then make a reason. I would ult this Junkrat, like right here, right now. Primal the Junkrat, right? Or at the very least, like, run around and go ping for your team, right? This is a rough bubble. It's an unoperable bubble for your team. Doesn't give you space personally as well. I would have primal again by now. You have, you have it, so you should use it. I like the leap onto the high ground, although I don't want us to get distracted by the tire, which we can't really do as Genji. That ends up being an unintentionally good bubble, by the way. You kind of cut off their supports from the fight, but we're also still playing like our side of the map. Like, go wreak some havoc onto their side, right? It feels like we are chasing stuff that's in our backlines instead of like just being on this music which we could be on in the first place. We're gonna see this a lot, by the way. I think I see, by the way, yeah, in my notes I say follow up on music with Primal, right? Burn that HP because like as you lose people on your team, you need to secure advantages, right? So I wanted to mention, we see you leap out a lot, and it's because you take damage early on. There's a relationship between those things. I call it damage taken timing. See a lot of my other videos, or Book of Odd review, so that we can go into depth on some of these topics. But essentially, like, you just want to leap high ground, not take damage here, right? See how much damage we take, and now we have to leap out, before, like, as our team is setting up. Look at our Echo jumping up to the height, right? As we leapt out because we took too much damage early on, and she was just coming out, right? So now we're back on this high ground, right? But also at the same time, our team is engaging main, right? They've already been engaged main. We're like in a high ground setup position, and now we're jumping into their team, but they've already gotten our Echo, who's been forced to engage, and as we're leaping out, we end up leaving our Brig while we're like getting healing, right? So it's almost like we're too scared to take more damage than we already have, when really we could just take that damage if we don't take the extra damage that we take really early on. I hope that that makes sense. Essentially, don't take damage until the fight has begun. Go find that setup position. Go to the high ground, right? Don't take damage early on. Get to cover, right? Left or right, instead of leaping all the way back. You don't have to leap behind your supports to get healing. In fact, that's like the worst possible thing to do. They're not going to turn around, because they know that if they turn around, they reveal their weak points to their enemies, right? So so instead, right, seek out, jump on the left or the right side, right, instead of leaping all the way behind your supports. Or if you don't trust your supports to heal you while you're in front of them, right, because you have taken too much damage too early on, and after you go half HP, you know what they're going to do? What the red team is going to say? They're going to say, oh, shoot the tank, he's half HP, right? So you're going to get shot at even more because you took damage early on that you didn't need to take, while you could have just been setting up in a high ground position and doing some scouting, right? If you don't trust your supports to heal you at that point, go find a health pack, right? Go find a health pack, right? So we're generally just playing a little too safe. We're only leaping, and we're going to see this in this round as well, but we're going to find that we're like only leaping the targets that we know we kind of quote-unquote counter, instead of being willing to kind of brawl out some of these targets, fight wars of attrition, go compete for high ground spaces, and then also we are we're not trying to control spaces. We're really just trying to duel targets. We're being forced to play passive and withdrawn because we take too much damage early on and at awkward times for our teams. And then we also don't stage and scout on high ground from left or right positions. We're pretty much only playing main this whole time, which is why we eat the rock there, which is, whew, that's a tone setter, right? Don't eat the rock. And I want to see us jump to dodge the dynamite instead of taking the dynamite damage as we jump, right? Just reloading and I think fight the Moira up here. Or rather, you know, if we're going to drop, I hate dropping onto our side of the objective. It's always better in than out. I am a huge believer in flipping the map, going and playing their side, demanding space and attention. I mean, things literally go right for us when you put yourself on their side of the map, right? So I really dislike, like, jumping to our side of the map. By the way, for this one, leap high ground and then, you know, onto one of these positions, and then from there leap onto your next target, right? Just buy yourself a little bit of time. You just got to pick on the Ashe, right? You can just play that advantage, right? And make sure that you're good for your next leap. If you pick that Ashe and then you dive into a Sig Rock and they're ready for you and they blow you up, right? That's literally an advantage that you've just tossed out, right? So on Parizu, right? The map that has like lopsided sides for you to leap and jump and climb and rise to. That's why people don't like Parizu, by the way, is because you have to play this map a specific way. That's why they also hate Shambali Monastery, right? And so like on this map where you have to leap and jump and climb and everything, right? We've only played Bane like this whole time. Okay. I like this leap onto the M-Ray. Hold on, let me go back. Because you do this a little bit, I see, where you have like a good engage onto someone, and then you... Okay, by the way, this is really interesting. This is like really, really teeny tiny. This is the only thing we're going to look at like really, really with a microscopic lens, right? But look at this. You leap onto the M-Ray, and then we're going to see an input that is absolutely incorrect. By the way, we missed that, which is really unfortunate. But here we go. We leap onto him, and then we immediately back up. Like, why are we taking a step backwards? Put yourself in his face and nowhere else, right? And stay on top of him, because we untether from him. We actually might have been able to kill him, right? And honestly, at one point, I bubble here as well. Perfect. We got the bubble down, and then, but we're leaping out onto the point into our team who doesn't really need us against a target that absolutely wants us on the point in front of him. 2 targets, in fact, instead of just leaping up height and then continuing to force these 2 further out, right? So I'm kind of trouble troubled by the fact that, you know, we're leaping out, right? So, what do I say? I like the dive on the Emery and the bubble, but the out to our team instead of to a high ground, right? Which means we take all the damage and they get forced further out instead of just going to height where they can't shoot us, and we can stay safe and in. Remember, it's always better in than it is out. And when we're diving out, I don't want us to dive out, right? We dive the Mizuki here. We get rooted. Primal him, by the way. Don't turn from him. You're a tank and you have your ult. Remember the policies. If you have it, use it. If you can't find a reason to use it, then, or if you can't use it, then go find a reason to use it. If you can't find a reason to use it, then make one, right? And holy smokes, killing the Mizuki instead of forcing your Echo to solo venture onto him out in the middle of the open when you have your Primal, that's so irresponsible to me, right? You have the ult. What are you saving your Primal for? So that you can dance in front of the Mago who's going to press his E and then just farm off of your health in order to stay immortal? Hello? Don't bubble the Reaper when he's on top of you. You want to be able to shield dance that guy, right? So don't bubble the Reaper when he's right in your face, right? You want to bubble before you've reached the Reaper, right? Or honestly, just leap past him, right? Dive into their backline, right? We're playing right smack dab in the middle of all of them, which is why we blow up so very quickly here. There is space to play behind them, high ground up here. There's a health pack back here. There's high ground up here. We can jump in here and then loop around in here, tickle someone in the backlines, and then jump back up here. There are so many options. And again, we had Primal that whole time. We need to use that ult. There is no reason to be sitting on this ult, especially when you could have killed a Mizuki and gotten that stagger and not lost your Echo, who you wanted for that fight, right? Let's see. So what we're going to end up finding is that our position on Winston is too close to these fights. Oh, yeah, this was problematic for me as well. Again, we're doing this thing where we walk backwards after we've tethered onto our targets. Don't walk backwards after you've tethered onto a target as Winston, unless the plan is to untether from that target and actually but why leave the M-Ray who you can kill, who your Echo's on top of? Like, your Echo is going to need you as well because you're going to end up getting confronted by the Reaper. She helps you secure this kill, and then you just leave her, right? She gets this kill for you, and then she gets jumped. Wouldn't it be nice to have her tank nearby, right? And why do you want to jump on top of a Maga who's going to be immortal as long as you're in front of him and try to cage you from rejoining any of your team members up here, instead of an Emre who has 250 HP, who you can kill, who then can't shoot you while you want to shoot the Maga? It's a lot easier to kill the Maga if he doesn't have teammates shooting you along with him, right? And so go kill his teammates first, especially if your teammates are working on those enemies as well. Again, dropping the bubble on the Reaper is a little bit problematic for me. We're jumping out instead of in. Remember, there's health pack, high ground, all kinds of other stuff. For literally hundreds of reasons, you want to stay tethered onto these targets. There we go. That was the right thing, right? We're still sitting on this Primal. So it's really unfortunate. I don't think that we have the best possible Primal here just because of how long we saved it, right? And on how long it took for us to use it. I do like that we're able to kind of figure out, we're able to discern who's kind of low and not, but we're never able to, actually stay at, we're never actually able to sit on a target that we want, right? All we're able to do is kind of fling people harmlessly from one side to the other, which is a little disadvantageous. Or rather, we just want picks. Ultimately, we win the fight, though, and we used it, which is really, really good. I just don't think it's our best possible Primal. I think our best possible Primal is actually the Mizuki kill. It's absolutely worth it to get a solo kill with an ult. That's so worth it. You don't have to kill 5 with the Primal. Are you going to kill 5 with Primal? I mean, that's not an Nanoblade. That's not a Tac Visor. That's not a Cat Noon, right? So, let's see. Okay. I'm coming to the end of my recording session, guys, so, my voice is going to end up shot here in a little bit. We're out instead of in, we're out with our team. Maga's already slammed, we're not on the high ground. We don't have scouting info. We're not leaping out to force them all to turn around. We're kind of standing, we're playing. Our position on Winston here so far has been consistently in spots that are close to the center of these fights, right? The fights are concentrated around you and the Maga. The Maga wants that, the Winston doesn't, right? Health packs, high ground, corners, and angles that you want to control and leap to, force them to turn around, flip the map. It's always better in than out, right? And you're not going to get all of the value that you want as Winston when you're looking at them from front-facing angle. I mean, look at how much damage you take just because you are in front of their whole team. Wouldn't you rather be behind them where you're, I don't know, not taking damage? There's a whole high ground back there. No one can get there. And if Winston leaps over my head while I'm playing in a gold platinum lobby, right? I think this was plat. Sorry, hold on. Let me double check. Okay, yeah, gold. You know, if Winston leaps over my head while I'm in a gold lobby, right? I'm turning around and I'm being like, oh, guys, there's a Winston behind him, behind us. He's not supposed to be back there, right? But, like, literally, he is. That's where he wants to be, especially when playing against this comp. I'm just mad because I'm playing Reaper and Winston didn't jump directly into my face. I'm just mad because Winston didn't sit and choke for me to slam his Maga, right? So go do the things that make them uncomfortable. Go play the game in a way that makes them have to play differently, right? Here, they can just brawl and shoot you. You're the tank. You're the easiest one to damage. You're the easiest one to shoot at, right? So what I want to see us do is really leap past them. Okay, we're on the Emre. That's perfectly fine. We get the coalescence out, but then we dive out. We have primal and we dive out back to our team where we can just go back to taking all the damage. And because we start taking damage, we dive out again. There's a high ground. Leap in. We dodged the damage. Oh, this is maddening. We dodged the damage by leaping here, by leaping here, by leaping here, by going into here. I mean, don't go into here, right? But you have primal. So you could literally like fight the Emre, force the coalescence, and then come into here. They'll chase you. You turn around and primal them, and they have nowhere else to go, right? But we keep leaping out. So we're literally in real time conning ourselves out of options to go after as Winston. Again, it's particularly maddening because this character is kind of pretty decent, honestly, right? That's a decent bubble against the Reaper. With the beat here, we wanna find the Emre. Oh, I don't know why we're backing up. Ooh, I don't like the steps backward that we see on the Winston here, unfortunately. Leaping into the middle of them, which is exactly what they want. I like that it rewards with a kill on the Mizuki, but oh man. And by the time we finally have the right idea to leap in instead of out, we get cooked by the position of the payload, right? Which is just really unfortunate that that you're not going to have it kind of reinforced by that scenario that it's always better in than out. But you do have to jump in, right, and not kind of get cooked by the position of the cart there. So that's a-okay. You know, we got to take the good with the bad. And there has been a lot of good, right? Generally, we're on the right targets, although we should be ignoring the tank probably a little bit more and leaping past them to see who turns around onto us, because those are the easy pickings, right? I do generally want us cleaving more instead of right-clicking more. I've not been a big fan of the right-clickies, and once we find a target that we want to walk on, definitely stay on the walking on them part, and don't back away from them, especially if you've got teammates shooting them as well. Guys, as always, there's so much that I wasn't able to cover in this VOD review, and but feel free to watch any of the other content on my channel. A lot of the advice that I give is pretty universal. A huge thank you goes out to Heresmeister, aka Nameless, for supplying this VOD review to us. This is some really fun Winston gameplay, and I love that you gave me a Parizu VOD. No one is going to give me a Parizu VOD because everyone hates that map. So Nameless, you are my personal goat of the week for giving me a Parizu VOD to look at. The thing about it though is I wanted to see you use the map, right? Less playing main and a lot more jumping around, forcing them to turn around. I've said my piece, and you can honestly hear me say it over and over and over again in all of my other I'm sorry, not Nameless. Oh my goodness, it's Heresmeister, aka no wait, it's actually just Heresmeister. My bad. I had you confused on my notes with another player. But a huge thank you goes out to Heresmeister. Look at my other VOD reviews. A lot of the advice that I give is like fairly universal. So feel free to defer to the deeper concepts that I'm able to touch on in those reviews. And guys, as always, if you enjoyed the content, then please leave a comment or like the video or subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell icon so you guys can be notified of when I go live with any of the content on my channel, as sparse as it may be for now. Every little bit of early support is really meaningful, and I really appreciate you guys for watching. As always, have a wonderful rest of the day, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be good to each other, be fair to yourselves, and I will see you guys again in the next one. So long, everyone.